Yes, people, as Martin Tyler says, we are live. Match preview time. Friday night in with Albert JTV. But before we get into it, people, let's hit the intro. Yes, people, we are live, Albert JTV. Match preview time. Derby Day. London Derby. Are we looking forward to it? We will find out from my two amazing guests. People, smash the like button if you haven't already and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Big up to the people that have recently subscribed. Your support has no bounds. Love you all. Thank you, people. But people, before we get into it, if you need a little reminder, this is what you should do by now. And there you have it once again, people. Serene music. So, people, yeah, match preview time. Sorry, let's get that confused. People, I will put this on my IGTV later. To my audio listeners who like my dulcet tones, this will be going out on Spotify and Anchor. But if people, let's get into the introduction. People in the chat, get your virtual waves in and your hugs, as I always say. Maybe even drop in a couple of questions. But I've got the fantastic strike force from representing the Red Army. I'm going to introduce my homie from London. Best striker I've seen since Alan Smith at the Arsenal. Lottie, welcome back to Albert JTV. Thank you for agreeing to come on. And how have you been?
Yeah, I've been good. I've had a very busy week this week. Been on 4 times now. So rounding off a busy week on one of my favourite channels. So let's do this.
Lottie, I have your sort code and account number, people. I will drop that money in Lottie's account for saying such nice, kind words.
He's talking nonsense.
No, I appreciate. Yes, listen, I don't take it for granted when I put the invite to ask people to come on this channel. So I appreciate it. And of course, my bestie from Cornwall, the Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi of Cornwall. Cornwall's finest when it comes to football. I don't know where you are from in Cornwall, whether it's, I don't know, whether it's St. Austell, St. Ives, Bodmin, wherever you're from. Penzance,
right down
get that. Ridiculous. But yeah, G, thank you for agreeing to come on again. How have you been?
Yeah, good. Had a bit of a break and now back to normal working life. So it's good to be back on this as well. It's been a little while since I've done one. So thanks for having me.
It has. The last time I had you two on the channel was for the Euros when, like I said to you off screen, when I sort of enjoyed doing the YouTube side of it because I didn't have to worry about Arsenal. So, people, let's get into it, man. Preview time. I'm going to kick off with, let me kick off with G first. I want to touch on this briefly because you two guys probably been overdosed in terms of what you saw last Friday. How quickly a week can go by. Yeah, G, what was your sort of what was your thoughts about the Brentford game? Let me give you a bit of context. I call it the 3 Ps. What I saw last Friday: passive, predictable, and poor. That was my honest assessment of Arsenal.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on the game? How did you see it? And were there any positives to take from that?
No. I didn't see the full 90 minutes because I was away and I had poor internet and I actually gave up in the end. But what I did see was just literally the same old, wasn't it? As soon as you start watching it, and I think when I started watching it, Xhaka gave the ball away on the 18-yard box, and I was like, nah, I'm not here for it. This, you know exactly where this is going today. And it was just a shame, really, wasn't it? You know, I don't think we're the only ones that are going to drop points there. You know, it's the first time they're in the Premier League. They're going to come out fighting. They were in their stadium with fans for the first time. and they were up for it. Like, there's no doubt about it. And hearing what we heard yesterday kind of makes you think they were a bit unsettled and stuff. But at the end of the day, they're still professionals. They should have been up for it as well. The first game back. So yeah, it was just disappointing all around.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Before I come to Lottie, people ask me. I've had chats with a lot of my Arsenal content creators and just people in general, not even associated with YouTube. But my thoughts looking forward to the season. No, I wasn't. It wasn't just the first game of the season. I'd saw what I'd kind of seen in pre-season. But yeah, we'll touch on a little bit more about Arsenal and sort of what we've seen prior to the game last week, and obviously our up and coming game against Chelsea on Sunday, London derby. But Lottie, yes, I haven't spoke to you about the Brentford game actually, to be honest. But yes, your thoughts and your thoughts after the game.
Do you know what? It was first game of the season, and pre-season had been so underwhelming. I was like, do you know what? It's first game of the season. Let's just go. The excitement didn't really kick in until like maybe half an hour before kickoff, because obviously I've watched the whole of pre-season and it was just so underwhelming. But yeah, no, the game. There's 4 players in that team that tried. The rest of them, I don't even know where they were. I mean, you had the senior players MIA. I don't know what else I can say, and it's with specific people in that team. I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
but it's just I have no words for it anymore. I really don't.
Yeah, it was.
I just want to forget it and move on.
Yeah, it was almost.
Yeah.
No, I hear both of you. I kind of said, if I shut my eyes quickly and open them again, I'd have thought it was last season all over again. Like I said, I've said many times before. I think I've had a lot of Arsenal fans say over the recent weeks, "Oh, it's only pre-season." No, the season started now. Started last week.
Okay.
What's the excuse going to be in 3 games' time? It's only 4 games into the season. It's only September. There always seems to be circumstances as to why Arsenal don't start the season well or don't do the right business in terms of transfers, but we will touch on that. Let me just whet the appetite. We're not going to touch on that a little bit later. But no, yes, 2 immediate signings has been touched upon in the chat. Martin Odegaard and Aaron Ramsdale. Your thoughts? I'm going to kick off with Lottie. What's your sort of general thoughts about starting with Odegaard, and we'll move on to Ramsdale, because that seems to be a hot topic for the wrong reasons from what I've seen in terms of how can I put it politely, social media activity. So yeah, thoughts on Odegaard. What's your thoughts? And I'll tell you mine afterwards when I get G's opinion on it as well.
Mm-hmm. If I'm honest with you, it's the smart buy. I'm not going to lie and say I did want Maddison, but going with Odegaard is the smart buy. I mean, we should be spending more money in the next 2 weeks, even with the price tag of Ramsdale.
Yeah,
but I'm glad we've got an extra person, because if we all know Smith Rowe is fragile, and I use that phrase a lot with him, and we need someone to fill in that space if that does happen to him. As touch wood, it doesn't happen too soon, but
yeah,
he's a smart buy in my eyes. We know what he can do, sort of, even though he's only played 14 Premier League games.
Yeah.
So he's got a bit more to prove yet, I think, as well.
Yeah, I mean, before I come to G with the Odegaard one, I said it sort of when we was linked with him on loan last season, because at that time he hadn't had a lot of game time at all. Actually had next to nothing game time when he came to Arsenal. So taking that into consideration, I thought he did pretty decent at Arsenal, to be honest, from what I saw. I said, if we're going to bring him in when the rumour started in terms of him being a permanent, potentially, you better bring somebody else in on top of him. Not necessarily the goalkeeper. I'm talking about in terms of an attacking outlet or somebody in the midfield area. I need to see someone. I need to see a plus one, like going to a wedding. I need to see.
Definitely.
I need to see.
I mean,
go on.
I mean, I said on Cannon Chat last night, We need a goalkeeper, we need a right back, we need a centre forward, and we need a central midfielder. But I can't see all 4 coming. But obviously, we've got our keeper now, so you can cross the keeper off, and it's just 3 more signings. Thing is, they've done these within 48 hours. I'm sure they can do some more. So,
No, well said. No, what I mean, G, I'm going to come to G actually. Yeah, what's your sort of thoughts on our two new recruits on top of what we've got already? In terms of what do you make of? Actually, let's start with Ramsdale. What have you made of? What was your thoughts? Sorry, let me rephrase it better. When we was first linked with him, and how do you feel now?
Pretty much the whole way. Like, being honest, it was like, why? You know, it was the money first, wasn't it? Like 40 million. I'm glad. I'll say I'm glad we managed to get the price down a bit. You can kind of accept that they obviously were working a bit hard and probably said, no, we're not going to pay that. But then as it gets closer and stuff, you sort of think, you know, it's not just the goalkeeper's fault all the time. It's what's in front of him. You know, he's faced so many shots because of what's in front of him has allowed that to happen. So he's going to have crazy high stats, isn't he, for shots saved and shots, you know, goals conceded, because he has so much in front of him that isn't working. And it shows with their game the other night. They lost 4-0. I mean, you can't blame him when he's not there. So now I've thought about it a bit more, and he's keen to join, which I love. Like, I think someone said he was a fan, but I don't think that's true. But he's obviously keen for a challenge. And what more could you ask for when someone wants to join your club, regardless of how we are at the minute, and wants to straight up fight to be number one and have his name on the number one shirt. Like, there's nothing more you can ask for. I think sometimes people just want a massive name when it's not even possible. Like, who even is a massive name as goalkeeper? And realistically, how are you going to pull them away from probably the biggest clubs that they're at? So I'm just excited to see. You can't judge people until they're in our shirt and how they cope with playing for the Cannon, really. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes.
No, well said. And of course, with rap, you know, like as my good friend Guna Soul says, people think it's FIFA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's all right. With Donnarumma will leave PSG the end of next season. They'll come to Arsenal. It's a five.
Yeah,
we'll get Donnarumma in.
This is real life. Like, things like that don't happen.
Yeah.
Not everyone is perfect.
Yeah. No, you make a good point about Ramsdale. I think it's not his fault in terms of who the defense is he has had to endure in terms of being at Bournemouth and being at Sheffield United. You're not going to keep many clean sheets there. You're going to be overworked. Exactly. I'm surprised Aaron Ramsdale's not 10 years older than he is, having some of the defenses he's had in front of him. So
yeah,
it's a big move for him. So I can separate the fact that he came from Bournemouth and Sheffield United. It's a massive, massive move for him, which he's probably absolutely buzzing about. When I sort of look at, in terms of Arsenal's transfer business, which I'm not going to go into 2D. I'm sort of going to come back to it because I want to not get away from the next point. But I really don't know what people were expecting. And I'm going to touch on a bit more when we sort of come to our head coach, who's got the most beautiful hair ever. But yeah, sort of I'm going to come to Lottie actually. In terms of obviously the news about Aubameyang and Lacazette, and the reasons as to, you know, we'll find out a week later why they apparently wasn't ready, why they wasn't available last week. I've seen a lot of stuff said on social media in terms of, you know, the potential of the game being called off because of this and that, and I just think, come on, look, if the guys are unwell for the very reason that has come out in the spotlight, maybe I'm being completely naive in my old age, 21 years plus VAT. I don't understand why Arsenal couldn't come out and say that they had COVID. I'm actually really confused. I don't know what other legitimate reason. Lottie, please tell me if there's any other legitimate reason as to why that's come out a week later.
No idea. I don't believe a word of it. I mean, I double-checked the isolation period online. It's 10 days. Why is he back at 8? Why is he back at 8 o'clock? So, do you know what I mean? It's just, I don't get it. I don't buy a single word of it. considering that Runarsson, Lacazette are still not back, that's possibly believable. Aubameyang, no, don't believe a word of it. We've had problems since the Spurs game when he got benched, so I don't believe a word of it at all. There's something else.
I just think, to me, the only people when it comes to G, the only people that come out looking not that great really is just Arsenal. You can sit here, but listen, Arsenal fans, rightly so sometimes, right, like to blame the media for a lot of things, but Arsenal, come on, they're your players. Like, why can't you come out and say they're not well? Like, I don't understand it. Arsenal fans are not going to be upset if your strikers are missing because of COVID. Look what we've had the last 18 months. So I don't really get it. GE, I'll come to you. If you can put some fantastic truth to this or sense of this, please tell me and Lottie and people in the chat.
Well, I'm the same, because I'm pretty sure Thursday or maybe Wednesday they put out the training video. And I'm sure I saw them both together, Lacazette and Aubameyang together, literally smiling at the camera. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what I watched. And I thought, well, how do you get ill that quickly? And obviously my first thought was either they've got food poisoning all of a sudden, or it's definitely COVID. And obviously now they're sort of saying that because it was the first game of the season and it was fans back, the Premier League didn't want to say it.
Yeah.
I don't know why that would be, because surely you should just be truthful. But we've always been like that, haven't we? When players just all of a sudden, they're not here today. And just as kickoff comes in, it's like, it's because they've pulled their calf. You're like, well, surely you should say, that way before the game. Yeah. But they always seem to say it at the last minute. And like Lottie said, especially if he was ill and was positive, how has he then all of a sudden turned negative and got over that so quickly? Because it was literally a week ago today, and all of a sudden he's negative as of yesterday, or maybe the day before. It's mad. Unless it was, I just can't get my head around it. But at the same time, what if it is true and all four of them? I'm sure it's because they're so close together. I'm sure there must be more to it, and it's just convenient that it was all four players that have kind of have huge links to leave. And I'm kind of also worried that maybe that might be like a blockage for Willian and Runarsson to leave next week. If they're still ill, like, how are they going to travel anywhere to sign for someone? So I'm in my head, I'm actually more worried about that. And then we end up keeping the players because they're all ill than them missing the game or two games.
I'll take them somewhere. Just we need to move people on. I want to see that. I want to see the revolving door keep going. We still got 2 weeks, like Lottie said. Let them go.
I'm running a free taxi service to the airport.
Do it quick. Yeah.
Free taxi service. Willian is first on my list, followed by Granit Xhaka.
They're going to end up staying, and it'll be like COVID was the excuse when really it should have happened a long time ago.
I just thought it's ridiculous. If I'm being honest with you, I didn't really see the point of them coming out and saying probably what some people might have known, but you could have stopped this. You could have stopped this speculation, but like as you touched on in terms of people being linked away from Arsenal, what a surprise! But people, smash the like button if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel. Follow my amazing guests on their Twitter handles. Go along the bottom of the screen, and you can see it in their picture displayed. I believe so. And people, like I said, follow me on my Instagram and Twitter. It is there displayed going along the banner at the bottom. So I'm going to come to you. So I've heard a lot of things. We're going to touch on sort of more so the players that have come in and Arteta combined. A loaded question, but we've got time on a Friday night. I've heard a lot of things said. It's not Arteta's team. He needs these players. So if you go back to last season, we've got in Gabriel, we've got in Partey. Mari was brought under his watch. Cedric, that's 4. You fast forward to this season, Erdegaard's coming in. Ramsdale's coming in. Tavares is coming. Ben White, who's a favourite with a lot of the female side of the fan base, which I can understand. He's a beautiful looking lad. And Sambi Lokonga. That is a lot of players that have come under Mikel Arteta's reign. is it time to finally say there is no more excuses?
Yes. Straight up. Like, yeah. You can't keep blaming things all the time. Like, there's obviously something that isn't connecting. The fact that most of the coaching staff is like a revolving door, isn't it? Someone just signs for a year and they disappear. And then it's like, oh, this person joined. It's like, well, who are you now? You know? And you think if you haven't got consistent coaches and you've got new people coming in all the time, pretty much every single person's going to have some sort of different idea. They might work the same, you know, under the same principles, but certain, like, different coaches with anything are going to have different ideas and different ways of showing things. So, yeah, I mean, I just want to see everyone stay. All the important people stay where they are. Stop, like, hiring and firing all these random people. And it's because it starts from the top, doesn't it? All the way down. Exactly. Obviously, you need to improve the team and use the youth and stuff, but the foundations have to stay the same and be consistent, because then they all know what they're working with. They all understand what they're supposed to be doing. But yeah, there's no other excuses. He's had, as some people might say, it's not been the right way of spending money on the right players or right fees and stuff. They've had money to spend, and that's been an excuse for a while, isn't it? He's brought a lot of players since he joined.
Was it 129 mil this so far incoming, I believe?
Yeah. I mean, when you're spending that sort of money on, you know, like 5, 6, 7 players, you're going to have to start producing at the same time and fast. I get that most of them have to adapt to playing in the league or learning the language, whatever. Obviously, that's going to be a small issue, but it's got to start happening fast.
No, I will say it's true, because the thing is, there's a lot of buzzwords when it comes to Arsenal. Agenda's probably the favorite one. Negative, toxic positivity, and also what the 3 keywords I've heard most of the time this season: right or forwards, right profile of player. Right. So we've gone down the younger route. Now let's see in terms of what Arteta can do in terms of coaching these players, because you have to coach them to be better. But sorry, Lottie, coming to you. Sorry. Sort of the same question, but what I'm going to sort of add a bit more to it in terms of what you've seen come in the transfer window. What was your expectations before the start of the season in terms of Arsenal's, how can I put it nicely, questionable transfer policy?
Oh, so where do I start? I mean, we were expecting 34 to vacate. Sorry, I repeated his name earlier and I shouldn't have. I have, like, Cannon Chatter, we do not say 34's name. So if you're not sure who his shirt's number is, please go and Google it. I was expecting him to be out the door. But obviously, Roma didn't agree on the pricing that we valued him at.
Yeah.
And it's not like Roma.
Yeah,
and it's not like Roma are not spending. So that was the biggest disappointment of the window, if I'm honest. Mm-hmm. I mean, other than that, I'm quite happy, but we should be lifting off the deadwood. The squad's too big. It's too big. We've got too much deadwood.
Way too big.
No, definitely. I mean, we've got players that don't want to play. I mean, we had one player, not naming names, he went off to Dubai halfway through the season. Who does that?
And he's still here.
Yep, and he's still here. And he came back in an estate as well. I don't know if you guys saw the first preseason game or that picture.
Yeah, we've seen it. Very much so. We've seen it. Yeah.
Something else. No, but I'm happy so far. I mean, since we've got hold of White, I've been watching White since he was at Peterborough. Me and you both said we'd have him in a heartbeat. We've got a wish this window.
I had no issue. Yeah, sorry, I had no issue with Ben White. I know some people have because he played for a lesser team, but listen, Liverpool haven't done too badly out of it, so I rest my case.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm really very much excited about Sambi as well. I've watched so much footage of this guy. It's just ridiculous because my cousin's
I like what I've seen so far.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. But no, I'm quite happy with what we've got so far. Obviously, 34's extension is the only disappointment of this window.
I think touching on what both you said, I think you make a good point in the sense of I understand why some Arsenal fans are underwhelmed in terms of transfers, and you know what? People bang on about being out of Europe, which is obviously a problem. But let's be honest, right? Even if we go back to the 17, 18 consecutive years of getting to the Champions League, if you actually analyze Arsenal transfers in terms of players that have come in, there's not been that many elite or you would class as world-class footballers. Let's be frank. Because if you take probably, I don't know, Sanchez and Ozil out the equation, Arsenal don't pull in that much of wealthy footballers. If we're being honest, yes, you can attribute some of that down to probably not having the financial clout of a Man City or Chelsea. I get it, but even if people talk about us being out of Europe, I'm like, let's be honest. We had European football for 25 plus years. I wouldn't exactly say we broke the bank to bring in the best. I don't think we have. I think you'd have to kind of scratch your head and go, actually, what year did we bring in that player and this player to sort of improve Arsenal and take them to the higher echelons? There's not been that many, if we're being totally frank about it. So I don't know what Arsenal fans were expected to walk through the door come this summer. And I'm going to come to Arteta with that. I'm going to set it up for you two when I bring you in. But I've said this last season when we stood in the Europa League. I've said it continuously. And you know what? Sometimes people talk about repeating themselves, but actually sometimes, you know what? I don't mind doing it because I think it's a salient point. I don't know any big football club that operates in three key senior positions and they're all rookies. I've never seen Liverpool do it. You can get away with one rookie position, whether that be the manager, technical director, or CEO, not in three in a club that has fallen way behind in 17 plus years since won our league title. So that was always a massive, massive concern for me. People were telling me, Arsenal fans were telling me, look, it's fine. The old regime's gone. You know, no more Gazidis. Wenger's moved on. Sinelli had his little short stint, but he's gone as well. We brought in Gabriel. We brought in Partey. I'm like, no, trust me. This is not good. You know, you can't expect people who have no experience to work miracles in a transfer window. Who do you expect them to bring in? That was always my concern. So when we've seen what we've seen in the window, probably even during the Euros, and people were panicking, we ain't signed anybody, and Leicester's doing business, and certain clubs are doing business. I never get too caught up in a transfer window because it just leads to pain. I've had enough pain. My painkillers are running out. So when I look at like I said, I don't know what Arsenal fans were expecting to come in. We're not going to, the Maddison links and the Grealish thing, and it's all pipe dreams, man. It was never going to happen. Never, ever going to happen. Arsenal were never going to outlay them funds to bring in the Maddison. Unless we get the biggest shock of our lives as Arsenal fans in the next 2 weeks. But I doubt that's going to happen. But
No.
Yeah, sort of coming to G with Arteta. Where do you stand with him? Do you know what was your sort of feelings towards the back end of last season? Obviously, getting knocked out by Villarreal and back-to-back 8th league finishes. Where do you stand with the manager now? And realistically, how do you see it going from this season?
Oh, he's under a huge amount of pressure, probably more than he even realizes. And I think up until Christmas will be huge for him. What I thought was when you look at our FA Cup semi and final matches, see the way we were playing football then, out from the back, like literally knocking it about. All of them were confident. There wasn't a point where you thought, oh God, please don't pass it there, or don't go back to the goalkeeper. And it worked really well. We could transition all the way up the pitch and we were scoring goals. Yeah, it was the same guy, but he was scoring goals.
Yeah.
And then you switch to this season and it's the opposite. Like, obviously the defense has got a lot better. I thought although we still lost, we performed better against the bigger teams. You know, we weren't losing like we used to lose. we were pretty much in the games. We lost 1-0 to City, and that was one tiny mistake at the beginning. We managed to beat Chelsea. You know, those things are what I want to see. I don't want to go into a big game thinking, oh God, you just know what's going to happen like this weekend. Like, you want to be fighting for those games. But then it was just from the midfield up was just gone. You know, it wasn't just, obviously Aubameyang's had his issues, probably way more than we even realise, and you have to feel for him, but everyone around him also wasn't producing for him, really. He was having to run around to try and get the ball to even try and do something. And you just, that's the bit that frustrates me the most. You know, when Arteta was playing, I loved him as a player, and he used to score some cracking goals from midfield. We don't have that. We don't have that anymore. We have nothing from midfield, maybe the odd pass, but that's about it, literally.
Pass forward,
So that's what you have to connect. We've obviously now improved the back four, so you have to see it switch all the way up now. Like, there's no excuses, and if we have the lack of creativity and lack of goals and stuff again, that's where the pressure is going to come for him. So it's a really important season. I don't want to be like the club that keeps hiring and firing, because I don't think that's any good whatsoever. And it might work for some, and it doesn't work for everyone. But yeah, the next couple of games are also going to put a lot of weight on his shoulders, I think.
Yeah, with that point, before I bring Lottie in, I know you say about the you don't want to be sort of a club. I've heard people complain and moan, City, Chelsea, they moan, and I just think, but you can't keep a manager because you don't want to be a club that ends up sacking managers. That's not a good. That philosophy doesn't make any sense, because to be honest, Arteta's a very, very lucky man. Forget the fact that only now that fans are allowed back in the stadium, because he's lucky. Arsenal are lucky we ain't got a fan base like Millwall, because they'd be right in the stadium and taking chairs out. I'm not endorsing that, by the way, people. So don't think that. Listen, but I think before I come to Lottie G, just to finish up with you with Arteta, there's almost this thing where people said the same thing to me. Oh, you are Arteta in or out? I said, look, I said, listen, I said, personally, as a manager or head coach, whatever the hell you want to call it, if you're not getting results, by and large, you shouldn't be in your job. He's very fortunate that because of our style of ownership, he still has a job. That's the biggest problem, right? But where were you? Were you kind of? Is there any point with you, Arteta, you're thinking, you know what, this guy, I'm gonna absolutely throttle him, or is he just thought, you know what, he still needs more time? Where do you sort of sit in the camp?
Well, the thing is, as well, I think, especially last year, you could argue that we got a few players in, but look at their ages, and they were all free, you know, and David Luiz. Like, what is the point? But now, you know, I'm not in or out. I've never been, I'm going to be in or out. Like, I just want to watch my team do well. That's it. I don't really care who's in charge, because he's not the one I've got the name on the back of my shirt. He's not the one I'm watching, you know? I get that it's important, but I don't care about that, like, so much, because the best coach in the world could still go for a bad patch and lose his players. But I just don't know. I don't know what I was going to say now. Damn it. I had it in my brain. No, I lost track.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
But yeah,
it happened.
I mean, well, that's what I was going to say. Now that he's tied down all the youngsters, which I think is huge, he isn't going to get enough credit for that. And the signings we've made so far have all been under 23. I know people want success like right now, but I mean, if you could go through a fairly transitional season this year, and then really now they're all together as one next year, and then bigger results start happening, you would surely take that. Surely, like, things don't happen overnight, regardless of if you brought Messi in. It doesn't happen overnight. So now he's had the backing, a bit more money, a bit more time. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to get hate. I'm just saying a bit more time. Things need time.
G, to be honest with you, before I come to Lottie, I'd have more faith in you playing up front for Arsenal, some of our strikers. I'm being serious. I'm tired of some. I was on the strikers more than any other aspect of the pitch. I was on the strikers last season. Anybody see my content, I was on them every week.
Mhm.
But big up to people in the chat. Before I come to Lottie, Jack put a good question there. Stan the man, my guy, man, from Vancouver. Man's going international, Albert JTV. Jesus Christ, man. It's incredible. But big up to the guys in the chat, because obviously Soapland is on TV right now at the moment. So to tune in to watch Albert JTV match preview, love you guys in the chat. Lottie, come to you with Arteta. And I thought about this question for quite a while. Because people talk about progress. They made the comparison during the Euros of Southgate and Arteta. And I said, where that stops for me is you can see the progression with the... Yes, England have got some talented players as a national team, but you can see a little bit of progression there, irrespective of what you think of Gareth Southgate or not. But I don't really see the progression with Arsenal under Arteta. Yes, G mentioned in terms of probably a bit more defensive structurally against the bigger teams, but sometimes even with that, it still doesn't make you a fantastic team defensively. But where do you who do you look at Arsenal right under Arteta's reign? Honestly, people in the chat comment as well. Who's improved under Arteta?
Really want an answer to that.
Yeah,
Bukayo Saka.
serious.
That's all I'm going to say. ESR, Bukayo Saka. That's it. Nobody
You know
else.
what? I'm going to be harsh. I wouldn't even give him Saka
Like-
because Saka broke into the team, obviously, when Emery was there. So that's just my opinion. I wouldn't personally put down Saka's sort of development under him. That may sound a bit harsh to a lot of people, but I generally don't. I look at sort of the great look of the makeup of the squad, and I think, who's he improved really? Who's improved under him?
I think Pepe's grown well into his shell, if I'm honest. But that's
Okay.
about it. Leno's just gone downhill. It's just got worse. And there's a couple of other senior players on that list that have just got worse. And she's smiling because she knows who the hell I'm talking about as well.
Yeah, I see G cracking up in the top right corner.
But yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat saying Pepe. Yeah, I just thought about it. I kind of thought I'm looking at the players that have really, really sort of.
It's more declined than improved.
I know Arsenal have been struggling over it, but yeah, it's a difficult question to answer. But I don't know. I know I mentioned obviously the question to G about where she kind of sits in terms of there being an Arteta camp. How do you feel about him towards sort of going back to the back end of last season and what you see now? Before you answer that, many people will have their point where they've said, you know what, I'm done with Arteta, whether they was in or out. From a few people that I know that went to the Brentford game, even some of them, I would say diehard or the ones behind Arteta were kind of like, you know what, no, I can't, I just can't do it anymore. For me, where he lost me, and I've said it public, you guys probably seen it, was RJ's in the chat. Big up RJ, he said the Villa game I done. I remember him saying that. For me, it was when he said about the Cronkies that if you got to know them better, you'd be surprised. I said, you know what? I can't listen to this guy anymore. Because even Wenger at his worst, as much as I probably wanted him to move on or Arsenal should have done what they should have done, he would never have come out and said that. I generally don't think he would. So when Arteta said that, I said, I can't listen to him no more. I've zoned out. I've checked out. What's your feelings towards Mikel?
Well, just touching on Wenger quickly, that guy was turning water into wine for years. Yeah. So what we've got now, I'm not I literally, a lot of people are regretting it right now from what I've seen. With Arteta, at one point I got really angry, obviously Friday night.
Yeah.
Blast from the Arse blog podcast put a tweet out about Conte, and we was chatting about this with Stephen on Cannon.
Yeah, big up Stephen.
Stephen actually came out with, well, even if we got Conte, he wouldn't take the job because they won't give him the money. He left his last job because they won't give him money for transfers. So realistically, who else is out there?
Yeah, Conte's had it. Yeah, Conte's got a history of doing that, man. Wherever he's been, man. Yeah, exactly. He said, you know what? If I'm not getting no more money, I'm gone. That's his mantra. He doesn't care.
No,
man can win a title, trophy. What? No money? No, that's it. I'm going. Bye. See ya. I'm going.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Exactly. And we know how Arsenal operate. It's not going to happen. So realistically, who else is out there that we can take
Exactly.
onto Philly's boots if he goes?
Yeah.
Yes, I can see us at this point with the fixtures we've got going into September with no points. But hopefully they can pull out the bag on Sunday and last the 20 minutes up at City, because City have no plan B and no striker at the moment. But
Yeah. Good
even
point.
if we go into September with 2 points, there's sections of this fan base that are going to just absolutely go toxic. And he's got the disadvantage of the fans being back this
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
And the fans, you've been in the Emirates when it goes bad. And there's those sections will kick off again, and it'll be Wenger out all over again. I mean, I'm sick of the cancel culture, so I'm firmly sitting on the fence for a little while longer. little while longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, he'll be gone by the end of October if we've got no points in September, by the way. He'll be gone.
You know what, Lottie? I think he might even... If Arsenal continue from what I saw towards the back end of last season, and the reports from what I heard in pre-season and what I saw, and obviously the first game against Brentford, I think he'd be lucky to make October. I generally think he will. I stand the man for a question. If Arteta and Eddie were fired tomorrow, who at the club is qualified to make recommendations to the board on who they should appoint? That's the point. There's just everything is a mess. The women's team, the under 23, no one is successful. What kind of a football club is this? Driving me mad.
It's a business. It's a business, not a football club.
Yes, you're right. That's the word. Where
bring out 20 kits this season, and we still will go buy them.
We are customers, unfortunately. That sounds really harsh, but it's the truth. No, like I said, with Arteta, that's for me where he lost me. I just said, you know what, and you know what it is with him. I understand people and myself and you two guys and the people in the chat and Arteta's reign, and was it 18 plus months now? Some of it for me is not even inexperience. It's just bloody minded stubbornness. You're not. He's not in a good position. Like he's under humongous pressure. Show some proactiveness and go back to a back three. I don't care if you have to abandon your philosophy. Try and do what you have to do under pressure to alleviate the pressure off yourself to get the right results. Because we started on the back foot. Look at our next two league games. The return of Lukaku against our
boots.
Oh my God. But
you know what? I'm praying for that back three on Sunday. Praying for it.
I'm not too sure, because trying to pick an Arteta team from last season was impossible. I've got more chance of picking the lottery numbers. It was just you haven't got a clue. But like I mentioned earlier in the stream, a lot of players have come into this football club. Yes, he needs a bit more time with some of them under his stewardship. So you got the numbers. Listen, some people are putting in the chat. Jack, I think, was mentioned about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. What happened to the Basuma links? Some of the Arsenal fans, YouTubers, the experts, Basuma's coming. I've seen him at this airport, that airport. I've seen him talking to Pepe. They probably put something in their phones to track where they were talking. But I said to some people, relax. I said, relax. I said, listen, it's not that simple. As long as Granit Xhaka's still at the football club, that move for me was never going to happen. I would drive to Brighton to bring Basuma here. Some Arsenal fans have a problem with that, which I don't really understand, because he's been a permanent fixture in the Premier League for over 2 years. What have you not been watching to see that he would be an improvement? But that's gone completely cold. The Dominic Calvert-Lewin rumours, pinch of salt. Yes, no, who knows? We still got time in the window, but I don't personally see that happening. I said, before I come on to the next point, in terms of score predictions and general thoughts about the game, I said that in terms of Aubameyang and Lacazette, I think Aubameyang is available for the game on Sunday, I believe, from what I've been reading. I don't want to come into this new season with either of them at the club. I want one of them moved on. It's Arsenal lack being ruthless. Wenger lost a part of that being ruthless when he was for the length of time he was at Arsenal, and it's continued through to Emery, through to Arteta. What you see on and off the pitch, unfortunately. But big up to the people in the chat. It's been lively in there, man. Thank you. Smash the like button if you haven't already, and thank you for some recent subscribers. I've seen it pop up on my Google Chrome. There are other search engines out there, people. But yes, so we move. I also want to get you guys, we're going to wrap up very soon. So people, get your virtual waves in the chats and your thank yous and your hugs or whatever you want to put in there. But score predictions and obviously general thoughts about the game. But I want to touch on one thing. Potentially a protest will be happening on Sunday, 3 p.m., I believe. I'm going to kick off with Lottie first. Big up RJ in the chat if he's still there, because he did a video, very good video, in terms of talking about being consistent amongst the fan base. Be consistent with your message. Because if I go by social media alone, Lottie, we're going to take Kroenke out of Arsenal tomorrow. If you go by social media. In the reality, because I went to the protest the last game of the season against Brighton, thinking that the Arsenal fan base is going to come together and put their little bit of differences aside. Didn't happen. Yeah, it rained that day. Is that a reason not to come? I don't know. There's some reason why people couldn't make it. Fair enough. I totally understand that not everybody could turn up. People don't live close to Arsenal, completely don't live close to Arsenal. But no. I think that was symptomatic of probably what RJ was talking about in terms of the consistency, is that very vocal online, probably arguably the most vocal fan base on social media in terms of Arsenal globally. But that wasn't reflected against Brighton last game of the season, last season. What's your thoughts about the Kroenke out protest potentially happening on Sunday? Do you think we're going to get what we saw against Everton, or are we going to get a repeat of West Brom at home last season and Brighton last home game of the season? What's your thoughts about the protest?
Well, we was there together, so
we was.
And at this, yes, we was. So at this point, if I think it's going to be another Brighton one, I will hold my hands up. I did go to the Brighton one, but it rained, so I dived in the pub and I didn't come out.
So I think a lot of people did.
I will hold my hands up to that. But at this point, because I've now bought kits that I refuse to buy. I bought them in on the sale, and I'm like, do you know what? I can't really go to this anymore. Like, I want them to go, but domestically, it's not going to work. We need the international fans to join in, and if they keep coming out with the kits that they've been bringing out, people are going to go and buy them. I mean, look at the third one; it's absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Lottie, sorry to cut in. Sorry, I'm going to come back to you. Sorry, that's right. You make a point, because people talk about the weather. Right? I can't even believe having this. Sorry, I don't want to swear. Having this conversation. There was a lot of energy to come and buy the kit that day, though.
Exactly.
When I saw it, I was outside the armory. The queues were. Listen, I thought they were going to Selfridges. The queues I was seeing in the weather. So the energy was there for the kit. It was there because I saw it. I was there at the ground. So, Lottie, I'll be honest. I'll come back to you again. This fan base is so fractured. I don't ever expect any football club of a fan base to come totally together, but we're not even, I don't think we're even anywhere near an even kill to even get the numbers that we had against Everton come this Sunday.
No, we're not going to get, the numbers aren't going to go up. I mean, we were, the first protest, it was Kroenke out because we were trying to save our club from being taken international. I mean, we were looking at a case of London derbies being hosted in Sydney. Yeah, it's great for them, but how's it a North London derby if it's halfway around the world? They're just looking to make more money out of it, and I think that was the main issue there. I don't agree with that. That's Spurs away, the Spurs away kit. Let's get that straight.
I know what it means. I know what it means about the bus. Big up Sentiment FC, man. Yeah, I know. I get it. I do get it. Yeah,
no. It's just I forgot what I was saying now
about the protest. I don't think that. I'm sorry to say it, but I mean, I had this conversation with RJ. I said, I'm not sure if I'm going to be there on Sunday. Not because I don't want to go, but I might have other commitments. But I will try and get down there if I can. But it's very demoralizing, and I use that word very, very strongly in capital letters when I think it was the West Brom game, and you see the numbers. You think to yourself, why am I here? If I think people need to separate the fact that Kroenke's not gonna pack his bags and walk out tomorrow, and you can come to the Emirates if you can and do your bit and make yourself vocal. Like I said, I'm not saying you have to be. Like I said, Arsenal Football Club are lucky they don't have a fan base like Millwall, because these guys get their things done properly, even if it means breaking the law.
Scary. I know that.
Yeah, so,
they're scary. I was at the West Ham Millwall game.
Yeah.
Never again. I know they're scary.
No. Listen, wow. I live near Millwall Football. I know, trust me. So
I know.
But no, let me come to G. Yeah, sort of the same question to you, really. In terms of the protest, obviously everybody came together for that one game against Everton, obviously because of the Super League talk. But it, like I said to Lottie, I just don't think the energy is there for a number of reasons. I think they look at the club in recent years and they just can't. I just think some of them can't be bothered. So what's your thoughts? Do you know? Because I even partly think the hashtag Kroenke movement went a bit quiet quite quickly. I would say after the protest against Everton, I would say that
it's one of those things. Like, it happens with everything. It's a huge wave, and everyone jumps on it first, and once it's done, it dies down. Like, it's the same. It happens with everything. But yeah, I think the first one was obviously under very different circumstances. Wasn't it? We were all. It came out of nowhere. We were all like heartbroken at the thought we'd never see our club the way it should be, and we were all sort of like united as football rather than just us. So I think everyone went out there to make a point, and it was amazing. But I just don't think people have the same energy when they think, "Oh, well, we saved the club, so that's okay." That's what I kind of get the impression of. Like, the club is saved, we're still in the Premier League, things are normal, and then they really do go back to normal where you just accept what's happening. I think that's what's happened with a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, but also it sounds silly because I know you should get your voice out there and all that, but like putting a hashtag every single day, what is that going to do? Like, if you tweet the same hashtag every day, what's it going to do? They're not seeing it. They're not thinking, oh, she's put it every single day for a week. Like, she really means it. Like, they're not. I don't see how that makes an impact. What makes an impact is like Sunday when there's not a full stadium there, and people, some people can go, and I don't have a problem with people that are going. Obviously, I can't. I live way too far away. It'd be way too much money for me to even go.
We'll get you down here. Don't worry about it. We'll cover you watching the game this season.
I will, but spending £100 on a ticket, and it's £100 to travel, stay. Some people don't just live there and don't have it on their doorstep. I would love to be at every protest, and if I lived there, I would be there all the time. But that's the thing. It's not a. It's a nationwide and international club, isn't it? Like, there's a lot of fans that don't live anywhere near, so they can't get there. And I don't know how those type of fans can even help, other than, like you say, don't buy certain things. But then these things are already agreed years in advance. They already have their money. It's not like me buying a jumper is really going to go straight to not his pocket. It's not turning up for games, especially at those prices, and things like that actually you can physically see. Because I know it's going to damage probably the performances and stuff when you get a negative crowd, but I mean, that's getting your point across, isn't it?
Yeah, that's more than
social media, because no one sees it.
That's what kind of with Wenger's later years. I think that when you saw the pictures of the empty stadium, I thought, nah, this is it's really
bad.
It did. I don't care what anyone tells me, it did. But yeah, sort of. Let me get some. What's RJ saying? There's more to. Yeah, you know what it is. I think it's gonna come down to the fact that obviously the Daniel Ek thing's gone quiet, but I'm not that surprised really, because if people with that, and I know Arsenal fans won't want to hear it, but if you have to be patient if your Arsenal lifetime supporting the club, it's going to have to be with a potential takeover bid. And even if it does eventually come out of the Kroenke's hands, you're still in the lap of the gods of what a new owner intention is for Arsenal. I don't think people should be lulled into a full sense of security to expect that even if Kroenke went and somebody come in, Daniel Ek, whoever it is, they're going to come out and splash the cash. It doesn't work like that. But let's be honest. What do you call it again? I forgot. The financial FFP has been relaxed. Have Arsenal still done? There's always, you know what? I think FFP is just a joke anyway. There's so many loopholes around it. It doesn't even stand up in a legal case. It just doesn't, because other clubs seem to get their way around it and take a fine, and it's fine. But Arsenal can't do anything because apparently they don't have any money. But we do. That's a myth to me anyway. But people, G and Lottie, I want to get your score predictions for Sunday. I'm going to come to G first, actually. What's your general thoughts about the game quickly, if you have any? And what are you saying score prediction-wise for the mighty Gunners against the Blues?
I never like to go against us, but I'm also realistic, and I want to be honest in what I'm saying. So I'm sticking with what I said yesterday with 2-1 to Chelsea. I just think they've got the one thing they were missing last year, haven't they? They've gone out, got him. They've identified it and splashed the cash for it. I know they've got some other players that would normally scare me that aren't going to be there. So, it's all about who turns up. I would love to have the result of last year, but I'm going to go with 2-1 Chelsea because I just think they've got it together way more than we do.
Oh, see, I'll give my score.
Unfortunately, it hurts me to say, but I want to be honest.
Of course. No, you've been very honest. That's what I brought you on here for, G. My Cornwall bestie. Lottie, you'll be there on Sunday. I don't know how enthusiastic you're actually going to be about it, even as a London derby.
You know what? There's a lot of
we have a very good record against Chelsea at home, by the way. But yeah, go on. What's your thoughts, Lottie? Score prediction?
I'm going to go with what I've been saying all week. I'm going to say 3-0 Chelsea. And two of them are going to look. Yep, Lukaku's big size 13 boots if he starts.
I mean,
I've been saying it all week. I'm going to stick to my guns.
It's written in the stars, isn't it?
Yeah. You say that, but you know what? I'm thinking if any Arsenal fans...
I'm secretly hoping we pull out the bag, though. Let's just get that straight.
There's many Arsenal fans who do FPL. You don't have to admit it to me now live on the live stream. When we go off the live stream, who's in your team? You triple captains. Listen, we know the rules. We know the real story because I've got him in my team. So no, it's it's. I understand
I bench
lack
White.
of I understand the lack of optimism. It makes sense from what you're seeing. In terms of trying to be positive, because I don't like to be blindly positive. I don't do YouTube for that reason, just to be positive for the sake of being positive. I need to see something from my football team to give us fans hope that there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel. At the moment, that's not the case. Positives, yes, we're looking forward to seeing Ben White, Lokonga, more of Saka, Martinelli, more minutes under the belt, Balogun. But the problem with that is they're individuals. We as Arsenal fans, we need the components of the team and the squad and the manager to be more cohesive in their plans to make this team better. And at the moment, that isn't the case. And I'm sorry, Arsenal fans are we can't keep on going through the next 6-7 months of the season relying on the younger guys, the experienced guys that we do have. If you can't step up now, when are you going to step up? Do you want to finish 10th? Like, where's the epiphany moment? It's not there. But guys, we have come to the end of the stream. It has been a joy to get my two besties on here. Quality, prime Arsenal Red Army quality, joining me on the live stream. But people in the chat, brilliant interaction on a Friday night, I must admit. You guys keep me going to strive the content and put it out there. Prediction wise for Albert, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I've not even really kind of thought about the score. If I'm gonna be really, really pushed on it, I think Chelsea might sneak it 2-1. I do think we'll score. I think the fact, oh my God, Lukaku. Why couldn't you start the week after? But yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. And we'll see. Like I said, we've got a good record against Chelsea at the Emirates, unbelievably. But guys, people in the chat, as I say, follow my esteemed guests on their Twitter handles. Let me give them an outro. So, G, thank you for coming on the channel. I've missed you. Can't leave it again. And thank you for coming on the channel. Where can the guys find you?
Yeah, just on Twitter is @LilTrigger2. So if you want to follow me, then please do. It'd be nice to meet you all, and thanks for having me back. It's been awesome.
People, G's put it very nicely. I'm gonna put it to you. Make sure you go and follow her. There's no reason not to follow her. Just go and do it. But and I'll leave Lottie to Lottie, my Northwest Londoner. Like I said, Alan Smith back in the day, 21st century Alan Smith, top striker, Lottie. Lottie, keep doing the amazing what you're doing on your channel that you're going to plug in a minute. So yeah, Lottie, thanks for coming on. Like I said, I want to get you two guys on at some points this season. Not too much. I want to give you guys a break from Arsenal, to be honest with you, and have a social life. But yeah, it's great to get you two guys. And again, been too long. Last time was the Euros, during the Euros, which I actually kind of wish it was still going, to be honest. But no,
World Cup's coming. World Cup's coming. Hang in
there,
mate.
Me and Souls are going to be there in Qatar, man. Well, not Qatar, but we'll be in the studio somewhere. But yeah, Lottie, thanks for coming on. Where can the guys find you?
You can find me at Lottie B on Twitter. It's 2 T's and 2 I's because someone beat me to it. Or you can come find me on Cannon Chat TV. We're back on Monday night for the review show.
Ooh. Now, guys, people, go and follow my esteemed guests. Go and follow G on her Twitter and Lottie on the lovely stuff she's doing on YouTube. Turn up the YouTube platform, man. People in the chat, thank you once again for tuning in. Yes, London Derby on Sunday. I'm your host, of course, Albert JTV. Come and subscribe if you haven't already. Twitter handle and Instagram handle are at the bottom of the screen, and just a double check at the top of the screen to my right. So, people, that is me, Albert JTV, over and out. Hashtag match preview. London Derby, Arsenal versus Chelsea. Come on, you Gunners.